we're asked to find the dx and dy components, which just means the change in x and the change in y for this vector. So displacement vector d is given as 20 meters at an angle of 60 degrees east of north. So here's north, south, east, west, and this is north. And over 60 degrees east of north, that's saying that's 60 degrees rotating from north towards east. Okay, so this would be, whoops, that's roughly 60 degrees, which makes this, what, 30 degrees? That way we make a 180-degree angle. And then they told us the magnitude is 20. Sorry, it's 20 meters. Yep, so the magnitude is 20. So that means the length of this vector is 20. And then I kind of jumped ahead here. I already started making a right triangle because now we can find out the dx and the dy component, the change in x and the change in y. Okay, so the dx is just this part of the right triangle. We can use right angle trigonometry to help us find that. Since we're talking about dx, we're talking about what's adjacent to this 30-degree angle, right? So we want to use what's adjacent, and then we want to use the hypotenuse of the triangle because the hypotenuse is known to be 20. So that's the cosine ratio. Cosine of 30 degrees is found by taking the adjacent side to 30 degrees. Because remember, the one opposite from 30 degrees is dy. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle, so this has to be dx, the adjacent. So we take the adjacent and divide by the hypotenuse. And now you've got something to solve for dx. Okay? So we can take 30, I'm already in degrees, so I can hit cosine. That's what cosine of 30 is. And then to get dx by itself, right now it's being divided by 20, so the opposite would be to multiply 20 to both sides. Okay, so it's 17.32. So that's our dx component. And now to find d sub y, that's what's opposite of 30 degrees, and we want to use the hypotenuse. Now that we know the adjacent, we could use tangent if we want, but the hypotenuse at least doesn't have decimals. So sine of 30 is always equal to what's opposite of 30 degrees divided by the hypotenuse of the triangle. So sine of 30 is 0.5 with your calculator. And we just want to multiply both sides by 20 to get dy by itself. D sub y. So there's the change in the y component. There's the change in the x.